Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of the best hair. And while the gap between Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky wasn't quite as long, it's still 6 years. The point is, it's time to dig into the 5th movie in the Child's Play franchise, Seed of Chucky, which focuses on that little sequel bait at the end of Bride of Chucky where Tiffany gave birth to... something. Generally, any child born in a horror movie is going to have something wrong with it, but man! However, in Seed of Chucky, we also time jump ahead several years in order to do that classic horror movie sequel of introducing an entirely new cast of characters in an entirely new situation that is only tangentially related to the previous films in the series. Honestly, at this point, I'm just surprised the sequel bait actually went somewhere. So, let's take a look at Seed of Chucky and see just where that was. You know, when I said we were going to open up to Seed of Chucky, I wasn't expecting white, nondescript goo all over the screen, but hey, at least it's not like it opened up to early 2000s CGI sperm all over the place. Well, there you have it, Seed of Chucky. Can't say it doesn't deliver what it promises. After a wonderful introduction to the miracle of life, or, just a clump of polygons, we get to see the new family.
That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Or their reaction to that sex ed childbirth video they made us all watch. Either way, this future art critic would be Claudia, played by Betty Denville. Her father, played by Simon James Morgan, agrees, but the mother, played by Stephanie Chambers, says there's no return address on this particular birthday present. So into the trunk it goes. But that night... I just so happen to be cutting the birthday cake with a big fucking Michael Myers chef knife that they just left sticking out of the thing for anyone to find. How convenient. So, dark and stormy night, easily acquired weapons. Still no guarantee anyone's gonna die.
Darling, I'm just going to have a shower.
There it is. So should I start the body count now, or... Our POV makes its way upstairs towards the shower, but is interrupted when Dad arrives.
Claudia, I told you not to leave your toys lying about.
Oh, I see how it is. You can leave sharp objects and bladed weapons on every flat surface in sight, but God forbid there's some Tinker toys on the floor. Scooping up the little bundle of horror, he walks it all over to his daughter's room, but she is adamant that she did not take the thing out, let alone leave it out.
Just because it's your birthday, that doesn't mean that you can relinquish all...
God damn, stab, scream, smash, splat, talk about starting things off at 11. Or apparently that was a stealth kill. Bethesda strikes again. Seems the mother didn't notice anything. Or rather, she did hear something, but nothing too worrisome. Must have been the wind. Thus, the doll kills her as well. In a method that I would have had so much fun moving little smiley faces around the scene covering up the nipples. In a more civilized YouTube of old. With them taken out of the picture, that only leaves Claudia. But what's this?
You killed my mummy and daddy. And now, you're pissing your pants! You're pissing your pants!
Honestly, a doll that pees is by far the most normal thing going on in this situation.
You're pissing your pants!
Wake up, you're pissing your pants!
But it was all just a dream! Or, well, not all. So the opening completely recontextualizes the situation and characters. The doll is Shitface, voiced by Billy Boyd, and his handler is Sykes, played by Keith Lee Castle. You know, the Count in Young Dracula. Here he's pulling the old Pinocchio stunt, doing a show as the world's best ventriloquist, Sykes, and his puppet, Shitface. In England. Just how in the hell did he wind up in England?
6 years ago, I found it in a cemetery back in the States. Little fucker tried to rip me throat out.
Oh, this Sykes just happened to be in New Jersey at the time and happened to go to that random cemetery and happened to find the doll baby thing and happened to smuggle it through customs to England. Hope that explanation's good for you, because that's all we get. We just move right along to establishing other things via handy-dandy internal monologuing.
I know I'm an orphan. I know I'm a freak. And of course, I know that I'm Japanese.
Despite the fact that the good guy dolls were obviously manufactured in America. Yeah, I know the fan explanation is that in the last movie, Chucky was Frankendolled up from a bunch of other parts, and some of those might have been made in Japan, but come on, this is an obvious retcon. But the point is, little shitface here is a kind soul, completely bereft of violent tendencies, outside of these recurring nightmares. On that note, they muse to themselves just what their parents were like, which leads to a white screen fade-out transition over to another scene that you'd think was their imagination based on that little speech, but no, we just shifted over to a completely different location to watch Santa, played by Jason frickin' Fleming, be murdered the fuck out of by Chucky and Tiffany, as revenge for him being a fake Santa.
You know what that kind of disappointment can do to somebody?
Do you have any idea how that can fuck with your mind? Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind!
Or is he?
Fuck with your mind! Fuck with your mind!
Chucky's broke again! This is bloody ridiculous!
The fuck did they record his lines on, a vinyl? Surprise, it's actually a film set, where they're making a movie about the urban legend of Chucky and Tiffany. But who plays Tiffany in the movie? Why, Jennifer Tilly, of course, here playing Jennifer Tilly. The role she was born to play.
Jennifer. Got your skinny quick.
Which we are introduced to with fat jokes. Did I miss something here? Jennifer's assistant here would be Joan, played by Hannah Spirit. She's so proud of Jennifer for guzzling down that legally distinct Slim Fast shake. So much so, she doesn't notice Jennifer sneak her candy bar into Chucky's overalls. Her main gripe is Julia Roberts stealing all the best roles right out from under Tilly. Probably from screwing her way to the top, if she had to hazard a guess.
How come nobody takes me seriously?
Nice tits.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just check her Insta. Yep. Still nice. Looking for an out from Jennifer's rut, Jones sees news that Redman is currently casting for the leading lady to his Bible epic to play the Virgin Mary. Well, that's all Jennifer needs to hear. Call up Redman at once. Later, first we need to jump to the interview with the dolls, being broadcast worldwide, including Shitface's trailer.
Thank you, Chucky.
Fuck you very much.
So, of course, we need the Made in Japan stamp in order for him to figure that out. Because, I mean, after all, the only known case of walking, talking dolls in the world wasn't a big enough hint. But how will he get to Hollywood? Well, it just so happens that the show was shit, and Sykes decides they need to be scarier and can practice on this handy-dandy rat he just so happens to have, which just so happens to bite the man, which just so happens to give Shitface a chance to escape their cage, fleeing into the road, where they just so happen to find a dump truck, which just so happens to be still long enough for Shitface to climb aboard before it just so happens to start moving, allowing them to escape to the airport, where they just so happen to manage to easily smuggle themselves, somehow, to Hollywood. I'm sure you're wondering just what Sykes will do now that his cash cow has escaped, or how any of the logistics of any of that worked out. Don't. It never comes up again. What does come up is Jennifer's audition with Redman, played by Redman.
I have never lain with any man at all. Do you believe me, Joseph? Do you? Do you?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Even back then, Joseph knew, no matter what your wife says, just, yeah, sure, honey, whatever. Redman's like, that was amazing! But I got someone else in mind already. Toodles, but Tiffany ain't about to let this opportunity slip between her mountains.
I have a lot of interesting ideas about the character, and I was thinking maybe you would like to discuss it in a more intimate setting.
Oh, I get it. Pillow fort, right? Jennifer requests her place, 8 o'clock, and we move back over to Shitface. Seems they managed to get themselves shipped exactly to the storage room for Chucky's movie. Whatever, I've stopped trying to figure it out. Much like how, these are movie props, not the OG Chucky and Tiffany, and we're gonna need to get those souls in there, but it just so happens Shitface has the heart of Umbala, which just so happens to have the incantation written on the back side. How convenient!
Ade Due Dambala awake.
Nice! Didn't even need the still barely alive bodies to transfer the souls from. Where did the souls come from exactly? From wherever they were. It's been years, but these two seem to have no memory of anything since we last saw them.
Tiff? Chucky?
Who the hell are you?
Shitface.
Jury's still out on whether or not that is or is not literal. Chucky laughs in Shitface's shitty face, but Tiffany says that name is shit and doesn't match the face. Who are their parents? Yeah, the parents of this walking, talking doll, of which there are only 3 in existence. Wonder who they could be.
Judging from that face, my guess is they're hiding.
Shut up, you asshole.
Again, I know horror movie characters tend to be dumb, but come on, we don't need to break out Mari Povich for this one. But looky here, he's made in Japan, and everyone already knows what that means, even though it wasn't established until the 5th movie.
Konnichiwa, Oka-san, Oto-san.
Shitface-chan no nihongo ga warui da yo.
What? No, we didn't.
Okay, maybe they don't remember everything up to the end of last movie, otherwise they'd probably be a little bit more miffed about that whole murdering each other thing. But what's this? Someone is coming! So quick! Sit perfectly still. Seems this fella needs to do maintenance on the puppets, so while he's busy removing Tiffany's back panel, Chucky gets to work, getting him a surprise.
It's up.
Instantaneous decapitation. And no, YouTube, that actually was a special effect. This is a movie. It was not real. He is an actor acting. He is still alive. Stop pretending that this is real death. Shitface is kind of shocked by this, but this is just means to get to the real heart of this movie. Just what gender are they anyway? Tiffany insists it's a girl, while Chucky swears he's got a son. Only one way to find out. I was just going to ask if his packaging was pink or something. So they can't agree on what to call him, but Chucky insists on Glenn, while Tiffany insists on Glenda. Meaning Glenn is an easy enough standard for both of them. But what's this? The family reunion is interrupted when Jennifer Tilly arrives. Remember, she had to hide that candy bar in Chucky's overalls. Ha! Fat. She does notice the dead guy on the floor, of course, but considering the production, it's hardly surprising. The fact that it's real does kind of freak her out, though, giving us a good old-fashioned high-profile exit, introducing us to the paparazzi, Pete Peters, played by John Waters, as well as Jennifer's driver, Stan, played by Steve West. Anyway, something that I'll hitch a ride. Then we can ask the real questions.
Are you a pair of ninja assassins?
Huh?
Well, actually, I'm an undercover secret agent. And your mother's a bitch. Now that that's over with, Tiffany makes plans for later. She's got dibs on Jennifer's body, and Chucky can be Red Man.
I'm down with that.
We'll ditch these plastic buddies once and for all, and we'll be Hollywood's hottest couple.
And Glenn, I don't know, be the dog, I guess. Or they figure something out, make a new baby, and bam! New host body for the little one. But wait! Jennifer has her own plans for tonight. Boning Red Man to further her career. Which is slightly upsetting to her driver, whom does have romantic feelings for her. But she hand waves this away.
He'll be out of there by midnight. Oh my God, she's a complete slut.
And as they say, never meet your heroes. I've still yet to see a downside in this instance. Therefore, that night, in the dark corners of the Tilly residence, the dolls put the little one to bed, and this is the perfect opportunity for Glenn to be like, "Hey, I noticed you murder a lot of people. I'd rather you not." Chucky is taken aback by this, but Tiffany thinks that now that they're parents, they need to set a good example.
We have a problem with killing.
I don't have a problem with killing. I like a little killing now and then. What's wrong with that?
Well, I'm just saying, in most of these instances, these are teenagers with very, very poor self-preservation skills. Like take David in Bride of Chucky, for instance. How did he die? He walked out into traffic in front of a big rig. Are we really gonna pretend that if Chucky weren't there, he'd actually survive like a week more? Eventually, Tiffany gets Chucky to promise he won't kill anymore. But his fingers were crossed! Joan, however, is more upset that Jennifer is going through with the screwing the director to snag the role of the Virgin Mary. The shame! The sluttiness! The sacrilege! That's 3 S's. She's going to hell for sure!
Hell would be ending up on Celebrity Fear Factor in a worm-eating contest with Anna Nicole Smith.
Which you'd win.
Well, why would she... Oh. Fat joke. So we're still pretending she's a whale, huh? Well then, Joan, how about you get the fuck off my property and never come back? Yeah, Jennifer fires her ass. Not so bad. Means she's one of the only characters actually free tonight. Redman is here for the boning. Tiffany is trying to set things up for the ritual. Chucky's got... he's got his hands full. And oh, would you look at that? The paparazzi is sneaking around outside Jennifer Tilly's estate. Though it's also kind of surprising that man can go anywhere with that facial hair without at least a dozen officers keeping an eye on him. Slipping enough sleeping pills into the champagne to very, very easily kill them, Tiffany waits in anguish as Jennifer and Redman fart around talking about anything and everything except how the champagne tastes. While she keeps him, tongue-tied, Tiffany finds another means of getting him to fall unconscious.
You was my virgin.
Yes.
The hell?
Wow, the psycho doll knocked a director out while he was getting fellatio from an actress. It's honestly not that strange by Hollywood standards. Needing to get a bit more overt with her methods, Tiffany's cover is blown right away. But hey, this presents another opportunity.
By the way, Miss Tilly, can I have your autograph? I'm a big fan.
Man, it's like these people don't actually want to be famous or something. While fleeing for her life, Jennifer Tilly trips over nothing while wearing high heels and sprinting on a tile floor, so it checks out. This gives Tiffany the time to catch up and knock her out cold. Now for the dolls to haul them into position.
Fuck, she's fat.
Did you get that? Jennifer Tilly is chubby. Overweight. Rotund, if you will. But what's this? Chucky just so happens to spot Pete Peters pulling out of the premises.
Paparazzi scumbag.
Which gives him sudden Chucky psychic powers to understand all of the context instantaneously. Anyway, while Tiffany takes turkey baster duties, Chucky has a surprise for Glenn. They're going out for a little father-son activity.
Where are we going?
Hunting.
But the criminal mastermind intends to hunt without a license. Pure evil. So they head out in Redman's handy-dandy Hummer and along the way run into Britney Spears, played by Nadia Dina Arcot, and promptly murder the fuck out of her.
Oops, I did it again.
What? How did you already kill Britney Spears? Is that why you needed a look-alike? But where is he going? Why, to the paparazzi's office building, of course. Chucky just so happens to know exactly where to drive to get there, and exactly where this guy in particular just so happens to be developing the photos of Chucky spanking the Play-Doh.
Jesus Christ!
Oh, man, that scared me. I don't remember putting that lifelike replica of that walking, talking killer doll in my room. Weird. What's weirder is that it was Chucky in the photos. Okay, now he's worried, but not as worried as he gets when he sees Glenn, resulting in him tumbling back and knocking a beaker of acid onto his head, causing him to caustically corrode into a cadaver. Therefore, Chucky commemorates the creative killer.
Say cheese.
Live by the camera, die by the acid, but you get the picture. Anywho, by next morning, Jennifer and Redman wake up and are quite confused about exactly what happened the night before. Redman can't remember squat, but Jennifer remembers some things faintly, like a dream, where her guardian angel appeared.
She had the sweetest voice I've ever heard. She told me to respect myself. And then she asked for my autograph.
And then she called you fat, so maybe hold off on that sweetie angel stuff, okay? But she's not all bad. Remember that Tiffany is working hard to kick the killing habit, so following the 12-step program, mostly.
Step number 2, give myself over to a higher power. Whatever.
Yeah, that is step 2. Say, fuck it, I'm not actually capable of fixing my own problems. Great list you got there, Monty. So, skipping a few of them brings us to calling up everyone you've wronged by murdering people and being like, sorry about that. We cool?
I don't know who you are, but
Thank you, Mrs. Bailey. Have a nice day.
Hey, you did your part. If she can't handle an honest apology, then maybe she needs to start taking her own 12-step program, am I right? It doesn't take long for Jennifer Tilly to realize that things have taken a bit of a curveball after her night with Redman. As such, she confronts him about it, like, Redman, I'm pregnant. And he's like, congrats, who's the dad? And she's like, you? But that's the thing.
I had a vasectomy as soon as I got to Hollywood. I ain't no idiot.
Redman is shooting blanks! He is impotent! He has not an anaconda, but a goddess snake! But even worse, Redman refuses to cast Jennifer if she's pregnant because his vision of the Virgin Mary is dripping with sex appeal. So sucks to be you, Tilly. Tiff, though, wants to kill the man, so she calls a hotline for those suffering from addiction. The guy's friendly enough and even meets her halfway. Even he slips up sometime, but that's okay.
Because Rome wasn't built in a day.
You're right.
Yeah, but delays in building Rome didn't happen because everyone couldn't stop killing each other. Alright, actually. So, no reason to think this one little slip is the end of the world. On that note, the second Jennifer Tilly is off to deal with a call about that weird paparazzi guy, Tiffany slips in to stab Redman, disemboweling him.
I'm leaving. You can let yourself out. Oh, and by the way, Redman, drop dead.
Now there's a man who knows how to give a woman what she asked for. But what's this? Glenda saw everything. No worries. She can say it's fine. It'll be their little secret. No reason for Chucky to know. Besides, he's preoccupied with just how boring the next 9 months are going to be, waiting for Jennifer to be ready to continue this movie.
Silly Chucky. It's a voodoo pregnancy. It's accelerated.
How accelerated?
Well, I'll give you a hint. Every single movie in this franchise so far has its story take place over just a couple of days. As such, Jennifer wakes up to find out she is 13 months pregnant. So she calls up Joan like, this is insane, and Tiffany joins the line like, no it's not, which results in a lot of she said confusion up until Chucky attacks Jennifer Tilly. But Tiffany's like, nah, it's fine.
I can still hear you screaming!
It's just, well, Bound is on cable. Gina Gershon is fingering me.
I'll just add that one to watch later. Anyway, gotta go, Joan. We've got to tie Jennifer up for the, whatever the hell version of magic body hopping spell we got this time around. She won't stop screaming, though, so Tiff requests Chucky gag her. But taking out that handkerchief makes him drop the commemorative photo, revealing that he lied about giving up killing. He's been off gallivanting and committing murder. This leads to them arguing again if it's Glenn or Glenda, in case you missed that 1953 movie reference. But their child asks, what about what they want? So they're like, okay, what do you want?
Sometimes I feel like a boy. Sometimes I feel like a girl. Can't I be both?
I can't believe this movie. Both? Both? Are you implying that there's a choice of two, you fucking bigot? Either way, the kids there like, no matter how that whole gender ambiguity current day California shit rolls, I don't want to be a killer. Tiffany's proud of them, but Chucky is distraught. Tiff is screwing with their child's mind for her own selfish purposes. He refuses to give up the killing. It's who he is.
It is not something that you should have to hide in the closet!
Whoa! Shouldn't hide the bodies in there either. They tend to stink after a while. Midnight gardening. It's fun and practical. Chucky's like, ha! You've been killing too, you liar.
It was just a little slip. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know.
Besides, the fucker really had it coming.
Ah, come on. If but they deserved it is a good enough excuse, how does anyone survive any of these movies? Well, of course, disemboweling Chucky's new apartment does put a bit of a wrench in the works, but no worries. Tiffany calls up Jennifer's chauffeur.
I need your body.
I'll be right there.
See, all you had to do was ask. No idea how they tied him up alongside Jennifer, but whatevs. So we're heading to the climax. But wait! The body count's still a bit on the light side. Oh, got it. Joan shows up like, hey, Miss Tilly, you need me for anything? Which allows Chucky to sneak up on her with a knife!
Look out behind you!
Another doll stole Chucky's kill with a makeshift flamethrower. Nice, the creative ones always win out. But who was it whom sent Joan tumbling to her just-in-time untimely death? Glenn! Or Glenda. Well, it looks like they finally picked one, as this kid's displaying is very feminine, but also completely batshit insane and psychotic. So Tiffany slaps Glenda back to their senses.
What am I?
The end result of an incredible amount of very poor life choices. The existential crisis can wait, though. We've got a baby to deliver, but we can't have anything happen without someone screwing with the plan, so guess what? Jennifer Tilly is having twins! A boy and a girl. I guess that conundrum still is unsolved, but no reason to hold up the show. They got the amulet, they got the bodies, and they got no reason to stop now. Or do they?
If this is what it takes to be human, then I would rather take my chances as a supernaturally possessed doll. It's less complicated.
You can't be serious.
Yeah, after 4 movies of Chucky desperately trying to get out of the doll, he just decides, fuck it. Just fuck it. Tiffany isn't convinced. She really wants to be Jennifer Tilly, but Chucky doesn't want to change. He has embraced who he is, and he is a motherfucking killer doll. Tiffany's like, yeah, no, not on board. I'm leaving you and I'm taking the kid. So get ready for fast-paced action because the chauffeur breaks free, meaning Chucky accidentally kills him. Tiff grabs a knife, throws it at Chucky. The police are somehow right there. Joan's body is still warm, and by the time they arrive, the dolls are missing. Because while that's certainly a lot going on all at once, Casse de Tilly has kind of been run through the ringer. So let's switch it up to a hospital, not a prison, because the cops are certain Jennifer is innocent. Crazy as fuck, but innocent. But this means she can be left all alone, and her IV can be drugged, knocking her out, so that Tiffany can use the amulet of Damballa to jump bodies. But wait, Chucky is here! For some reason.
I can't think of a thing to say. Fuck it.
I'm just impressed they make axes in that size. Yeah, she's still got time for that spell before he can break through the door.
Nobody leaves me.
So that's why he's against her using the amulet by herself. Turns out the possessed doll is kind of possessive. Thus, she gives her last words of advice to her child, and she dies. But this really pisses off Glenn, who uses his Japanese ninja powers to fight Chucky. And the axe. Or hatchet. Would it be more of a hatchet? And Chucky is decapitated! Therefore, happy ending! After all of that, Jennifer Tilly decided to say fuck it and leave, moving to Mexico and bringing her 2 kids with her. The nanny is kind of terrified of Jennifer's daughter, Glenda, and that freaky doll Jennifer has, but is there really anything to be worried about? It's the end of a horror movie deep into its sequels, so yes, there is.
No one's helping me, no.
Because Jennifer is actually Tiffany. She did complete the spell before Chucky burst in and killed Tiffany, who was actually Jennifer. And was talking to Glenn like it was her own kid because, she's got to keep up appearances, I guess. But Glenn is here too, with his own body, and so very happy. Also, we're still at the end of the horror movie sequel, so guess what? He gets his very own mysterious package in the mail! Chucky's arm! Movie. You realize you only need 1 sequel bait, right? Not 3 or 4 back to back. Especially when we know you're pretty much going to ignore every single one of them in the coming movie anyway. Anyway, that was Seed of Chucky. And it's fun enough for what it is. As far as the horror train goes, that has well and truly left the station. We're full-on horror comedy from here on out. Or, as I like to call it, comedy with a body count. The death kind of body count. And as far as that goes, Seed of Chucky is okay. It's not a favorite by any stretch of the imagination, but the movie does know how to be fun and use its rather unique perspective as a means to explore and comment on the themes of self-expression and acceptance through the lens of killer dolls disemboweling Hollywood directors. The quality of the animatronics is very nice to see, and the explanation behind the increase in fidelity works, but the way the plot goes about explaining things usually is not nearly so, coherent. At a certain point, it really feels like things are just happening for the fuck of it. Now, even the movie opens with Shitface as a ventriloquist act that is at least mildly popular, but once that's out of frame, it's absolutely never coming up again. It's about the same with most things in the movie. Spare perhaps fat jokes about Jennifer Tilly. Look, I get it. She's not exactly supermodel skinny, but they really went in coming off like she's some kind of whale. We mostly hear about her weight, her liking to eat. A main plot point in getting her in one scene revolves around her retrieving a hidden candy bar. The one black man in the movie really wants to have sex with her. Just saying, they played that up to a comically over-the-top degree, and, dude, she's just a little thick. At the end of the day, Seed of Chucky is decent enough for fans of the series and fans of the lower end of horror. It's not a masterpiece of dread, but it knows that and plays into its strengths well enough and does give an honest shake to the themes it's working with, coming in at 2 Tillies out of 5. I mean, if you're already this deep into the series, may as well, but there are more entertaining 2 out of 5 experiences I've had. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, if you're only ever acting to please others, you can never truly be yourself.
This is nuts! And I have a very high tolerance for nuts.